Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos with a really wonderful piano. This is a Steinway B that we have rebuilt completely. It was built in 1926 in New York. It's the 6 foot, 10.5 inch long model, larger than the Model A. And for many years, this was the next size smaller than Steinway's own concert grand, the Model D, at least the ones they were making in their New York factory. And well, it's a legend in the piano industry in no small part because concert pianists who couldn't fit a concert grand in their home would have this model instead in their home to practice on or to teach if they were also a teacher. It's also very popular with recording studios, small recital halls. Really a legendary model itself, a design that they haven't had to change in well over 100 years. It has the same scale design since I think the early 1900s. And it's one that we are always happy to have in to rebuild, especially this particular one. It came in, it wasn't especially neglected by its previous owner. It had a relatively easy life. Before we rebuilt it, it was not played especially heavy, but being about 100 years old with original parts, we knew that we had to completely rebuild it in order to bring it back to its highest potential. And so we've done so. This has a new satin ebony finish. All the hardware has been polished, and the pedals and the casters have also been replated in nickel. Nickel hardware was the standard in Steinway Grands, I guess the uprights too, until around 1930 when they started using brass hardware more often. And I think other American companies did at the same time. It was Mason and Hamlin from Boston also used nickel hardware. I don't normally care about the way the piano looks myself as a pianist and technician. I care more about how it feels and how well it turns out when we work on it, but the nickel hardware is a nice, different appearance that you don't see very much in pianos anymore. Usually that's something you have to custom order these days. So as I said, new finish, brass hardware, nickel hardware polished, cast iron plate refinished, soundboard refinished, new pin block installed with tuning pins and strings. And it has new action, including runts and hammers. They are one of two remaining manufacturers in this country of piano hammers, and they previously supplied to a variety of different high-quality piano makers, including Sommer, if I remember correctly, and I'm sure there's others, maybe Walter. Technicians, if you ask any, will give you a good review of runts and hammers because they're, for one thing, easy to work with. They come out of the box very nearly sounding the way they should, so they require not too much preparation by us when we install them in any piano that needs new hammers. Plus they also have a warm, soft, gentle sound that technicians appreciate because we're the ones who have to tune these pianos and hitting the same note over and over again and going on. Less likely to hurt our ears, and I've met multiple technicians who've told me that and how much they appreciate the sound of runts and hammers for that reason. Especially registered piano technicians that I've talked to think very highly of them for that reason. Plus it makes the piano sound good, and it's something we like to use for vintage American pianos, including Steinways, Mason and Hamlins. Something which, at least in my opinion, really captures the essence of early 20th century American pianos, especially Steinway. I think the early 20th century ones, they were known for kind of this massive sound, especially in the larger pianos models, without really sounding loud. It's just a big sound. Reminds me of, also in the late 1800s they had that sound too. This piano reminds me a lot of what I've seen with early 20th century Steinways, just this big massive sound with no harshness whatsoever. It's just a big sound wall of sound coming at you. And in my opinion, the Ronson hammers really bring that out of the piano and really make it, bring it back to its full potential that way. So it's been a pleasure to work on. What else can I say about this? Oh, of course, we've regulated it, put new key tops on, make sure everything is nice and even. And it was really a pleasure to get this piano rebuilt. Didn't give us too many problems. Everything turned out really nicely. And I mentioned the hammers. They being on the mellow side, it will be fair for me to rate this piano a 4 on a scale from 1 to 10, from mellow to bright. Overall, I think this piano skews a bit more toward the mellow side. Not that it's incapable of having a big projecting sound. I think, well, every Steinway model, in my opinion, grand model, sounds bigger than it looks, and that is one way in which Steinway has earned their prestigious reputation for the past 150 years or so. I mean, they were, amongst others, they were the innovators of a bolder, more projecting sound amongst pianos, concert pianos, in the 1800s, at a time when not every piano really had that projecting sound. Steinway came up with a number of patented innovations that really brought out the tonal projection of their concert instruments, and they were able to apply that to every one of their smaller models, the same kind of sound, in a smaller case necessarily, because not everyone has room for a concert grand. But they were really able to make, like, every 6'10" piano they make sound bigger than that. They make a 5'10" Model O. It sounds more like a 6-foot-something piano, and even their little baby grand Model S has a surprisingly big sound for its small little size, and a very even tone, progression of tone all across the keyboard. That's another trademark Steinway sound, which other manufacturers didn't have back then, but which, I dare say, at least in my opinion, many manufacturers have since copied in their own way. Really very satisfying to play this piano, on the mellow side, but with a really tremendous dynamic range. Of course, super smooth all the way up, bottom to top to the keyboard. I was able to get super whisper soft, with none of the notes being lost, which is something I find in other pianos that are maybe not as good as this piano. When I play super soft, the notes just kind of don't activate. Part of that is a exacting regulation that we ensure that we do on these pianos, but part of it too is just the quality with which the piano was originally made. If it's a higher quality piano, we get better results. And this piano delivered. It's very satisfying for that reason. The touch is interesting. It's not too hard, not too easy. It feels, in my opinion, deceptively light, because when you need to play very rapidly, little runs of rapid notes, small moving parts like Baroque music would have. The first piece was by Domenico Scarlatti, his Sonata K25, if you want to look it up. Having an action that feels fast and deceptively light is definitely an advantage. And other music like Mozart, Bach, or for another genre, a lot of jazz music has small moving parts that require the keys to feel and yield easily, but not be necessarily easy to press. It has this feel that we've often remarked in other videos that we do here of our rebuilt Steinways. Not everyone turns out this way, but this one I think really did. It has a floaty feel beneath the fingers, where again, it feels deceptively light, but it's not light. There's still a very substantial feel to the keys, which you can get when you play more romantic era music, say Beethoven onward. The last piece I played was by Isaac Elbanez, his Cordoba, written in about 1899 or somewhere, 1898. And that type of music really benefits from having a more massive feel to the keys, and which is why Steinway pianos have been especially a favorite of classical pianists. The concert pianists who will play Beethoven, Chopin, Liszt, Brahms, Rachmaninoff on stage. It's, especially for the later composers that I mentioned, Liszt and eventually Rachmaninoff, they knew the Steinway sound. They were writing compositions at a time when the Steinway sound had emerged. And that's kind of the type of piano that they had in mind when they were writing, especially Rachmaninoff, who owned Steinways when he lived in this country. This piano, perfect for that type of music too, but also really good for Baroque music and other, as I mentioned, other music. Really a highly versatile piano. You can play a wide variety of music on it and it will work with you. So to give it a rating to that touch, I'll say 5 on a scale from 1 to 10 from light to firm. Feels light when you need it to, but feels substantial when you need it to. That works itself out to be right in the middle out of 5. And really quite a pleasure for me to play. Something that I don't find in every single Steinway I play, and one reason why, well, I'm not necessarily have Steinway as an ideal piano in my mind, if I may speak in my own opinion. I don't like every single one I've played, but this one is definitely one of the nicest ones I've played in a long time. I'm very pleased with the way this one turned out because of how cooperative the action feels, and especially the dynamic range, how it was able to allow me to get super whisper soft and none of the notes were lost. Very satisfying to play. What else can I say? It, like everything else we sell, has a 10-year warranty, all parts and labor, and 100% lifetime trade-up guarantee. We do ask, like we would ask for any piano you purchase from us, that you make sure it's in tune twice a year, at least twice a year, by a piano technician, a professional technician, and that you keep it out of extremes of humidity. So moderate, stable humidity is crucial for keeping any piano in good condition in the long term, especially its wooden components. You don't want a widely varying humidity to compromise the structure of the wooden components with time. So proper humidity control is really important. And if you maintain your piano, as I've said, you can, if you wish, come back and trade this piano in for exactly the instrument sales price that you pay for it. Not that we usually have very many pianos in our inventory that would be more expensive than this. At the time of this video, it is tied for the most expensive. But we occasionally have larger concert grand Steinways in, and you would be eligible for an upgrade in the future if that is something you wish to do. And more likely, if you're watching this video and already know us, you might be thinking of trading in your current Rick Jones piano for this piano, and whatever you paid for the previous piano from us, as long as you've taken care of it, you get that full instrument sales price in trade toward this piano. And this would be, for many people, I think, the last step in their journey, trading up through various pianos. A lot of people start more modest, and as they're able to over time, they trade up to a nicer piano with us over time. And teachers especially like to encourage your students to do that as they improve and practice more and develop their technique. And this would be like the last stage in their development where the teacher says you're really concert level or worthy of such a thing, and this is your reward. Certainly a piano worthy of that task. Well, I should point out that new Steinways only have a 5-year warranty as opposed to our 10-year warranty, all parts labor. Steinway, I believe Steinways have had that 5-year warranty for a long time. But what you will never find with any new Steinway is a 100% trade-in guarantee like we have on all of our inventory. You won't find out in any new piano. That's not feasible for new dealers, but it shows how much we stand by our work, how proud we are of making sure that the work is good, and really buttoning up the piano to make it as best as it can be. And well, let's see what a new one. A new Steinway B has a list price of $138,800, according to the latest Larry Fine piano buyer supplement, which has all the MSRP listed for various pianos available new today in the United States. And well, for the price that we have this piano priced at, you could buy 2 of these and still have quite a bit of money left over for vacation or a few vacations. We would challenge you to go to a new Steinway dealer, play a Model B, which is the same design. It's going to look like this. It's going to have the satin ebony finish. It's going to have the same string scale because they haven't changed it. They haven't had a need to change it. They nailed it over 100 years ago. You can see for yourself how nice they are. We're sure they are nice. As technicians, we see the late model Steinways in, and the quality has remained high. But we would challenge you to go play that and then play this piano in our inventory and see for yourself how nice it has turned out. And I think it's especially one of the better ones we've had in a long time. And, well, you can draw your own conclusion about whether the new Steinway plays, sounds, and looks twice as good, over twice as good as what we have this piano for. It's what we have it priced at now. Again, you're welcome to make that conclusion by yourself, but let it suffice to say that I think you'll be very pleased with this piano. And it's certainly something that you could treasure for a long time and pass down through a family if you have children. This is the type of piano we expect to be rebuilt once again in 80 years, depends on how well you take care of it, as a piano that's certainly worth passing down like that and reviving every century. So, please stop by. You can play it for yourself along with anything else in your inventory. But if you can't make it, you can always give us a phone call or send us an email if you have any questions.